my disability has never stopped me from dancing. Moving my body has always come naturally to me. And as soon as I could walk, I was performing in our lounge room to a captivated audience of my Care Bears. They loved Kylie Minogue. But growing up with a disability meant that I also learnt from a young age that putting on a performance for the world would be one of my greatest skills. I was born in the 1980s when disability was a much more taboo topic and less understood than it is today. When my parents applied for me to enrol in the local primary school with my able-bodied sister, some of the teachers formed a committee to stop me enrolling in the school because they believed they couldn't accommodate me. As I grew into an adult with a disability, I realised I was living two separate lives. Publicly, the life that could keep up, this inspiring, independent go-getter who had big dreams for her career and her life in the sporting space. And then behind closed doors, this life that was hidden, where I was building a business from my bed, feeling disillusioned, and visiting multiple doctors, health professionals, and psychologists to alleviate the pain that I was in. I started to see a pattern where, in order to get the help I needed from medical professionals and the funding I needed in order to level out the playing field of life, I had to downplay my successes and make it out as if my life was not going that well, that my disability was a tragedy, and re-traumatizing myself with that story again and again. I am not disabled because of how my body has come to be. I am disabled because the world is not built for me. Some days I would be speaking to thousands of students on leadership and self-belief in the morning, the perfect in-between training session for a Paralympian, much different to my uni mates who could wait tables at a local cafe. And then that afternoon, I would be fighting in the doctor's office for a renewal of my soon-to-expire accessible parking permit, as if one day my disability would expire too. Living in this duality is exhausting, clearly, and having to continually show up and strive and to live the goals that I have for myself and to also meet the mold that society wants me to live in is dehumanizing. Waking up in the morning and leaving the house can sometimes look a little bit like you have 100 tabs open on your internet browser. And if you've had a bad night's sleep or you have eaten food that upsets your pain level, that can double the amount of brain space it takes to just live in the game of life. But does that mean that I don't have the same rights as other people in the world, as able-bodied people? When you leave the house, you may have to encounter rain. You can't push and hold an umbrella, by the way. And some able-bodied person might be parked in the accessible car park because they're just running in. I'd love to just run in. But my world and my life isn't as simple as that because of the body I was born into. The late famous Australian disability advocate Stella Young said in her 2014 TEDx talk, "No amount of smiling at the flight of stairs will change the flight of stairs into a ramp." And there are countless examples of ways in which the world continues to prioritise process over people. We are not disabled because of the bodies that we are born into. We are disabled because the world is not built for us. In 2009, Paralympian Kurt Fearnley crawled the Kokoda Trail, and upon returning to Australia, the airline wouldn't give him back his wheelchair, forcing him to crawl from the terminal to the bag exchange because of airline policy. People with disabilities are the sum of many unique parts. Like you, I'm made up of many different parts. The disabled, the woman, the Paralympian, the sister, the daughter, the business owner, the psychic healer. The disabled part of me gets so much airtime. Some people who don't live with disability believe that it needs to be front and centre of all that I am and all that I be, because maybe they believe that that's how I see myself, or maybe all they see is the wheelchair, so that must be all of who I am. but I want to dance to the beat of my own drum and to the rhythm of my own soul. One night, I was out with my mates. We were busting some serious moves on the dance floor, like this. And I would have killed myself if I was like you, breathed a stranger down my neck. I wouldn't even leave the house. I turned away from her. And then in some kind of comedic scene from a sitcom, the same woman then lunged at me. I'll help you. I work with people like you. Is disability such an unbearable thought to able-bodied people that the inevitable sense of them losing their abilities sends them into a spiral, sends them into this feeling of loss of self, loss of identity that is built on the lies that society has told you it is to be human? I dream of the day of the disability revolution, when disability is seen as and celebrated as much as other diversities. I dream, and I'm waiting for the day, when disability is celebrated as much as LGBTIQ+ Pride Month. Disability Pride Month is in July, and it's a whole month dedicated to the celebration of disability and our bodies and our lives. Because for the most part, the people I know with disabilities don't feel shame for who they are or for their bodies. As a 17-year-old, I looked out into the stadium of the huge crowd cheering on the Sydney 2000 Paralympic team. And I thought to myself, is this the moment of the disability revolution? Is this the moment when life will change? That was 22 years ago now. And while some things have definitely changed, the human collective's perspective on disability has a long way to go. I'm still waiting for the day where I'm seen as whole or not a weight on the healthcare system. I'm waiting for the day when I can push down the street without some stranger yelling out to me, "How long you been stuck in that thing?" As if some random stranger has the right to know about my medical history. I'm waiting for the day when people with disabilities feel safe to travel the globe and know they won't be stuck without their mobility aids because some able-bodied person decided they couldn't take it with them. I'm waiting for the day that I can celebrate joyfully with my mates without that nervous pit in my stomach, that trauma response that stopped me again and again because people would come up to me and ask me about my life and my body. I'm waiting for the day when it's celebrated, when I need help and I ask for it, much like able-bodied people, and it's celebrated when I get it. I'm not trying to get free stuff. I'm a human desiring to be treated like a human. So much of my life, I have hidden myself away. When I was younger, I was so ashamed of my body. And then when I was older and retired from the Australian Paralympic team due to injury, I felt that familiar shame creeping back up again. You see, when I was a Paralympian, I was so deeply accepted by able-bodied people. They would say to me, "You're doing more than able-bodied people can do, good on you." I sometimes am surprised when people see me out and they comment when I'm doing just my thing, my daily life. And then I remember the world is not built for us. It's obvious to me that I don't fit into the normal human archetype. I am told how to live by medical professionals that have gathered their knowledge from textbooks. But I believe that in order for you to be like me, to know what it is to be like me in my life, you need to have walked with my shoes, to have pushed with my wheels. I met with the assumption that people with disabilities are asexual. And in the past, able-bodied people have said to me that people with disabilities should be thanking them for access to a disability pension. In 2016, an American Association of Women in University report found that humans with disabilities only earn 78 cents for the dollar able-bodied people earned. Females with disabilities only earn 72 cents of the dollar that males with disability earns. I am part of the most underpaid cohort on the planet. And in order for this to change, I need to say this: we are not less than you. The reason that you don't see us out and about doing our thing is because the world is not built for us. in a way that truly allows us to be. But there are millions of incredible human beings with disabilities out there doing amazing things. We have families, we have children, we are business owners, we are homeowners, we are leading industry innovators just out there doing our thing. Picture this. This is a good one. A couple of weeks ago, air hostess in orange leant over my parents and I as we took our seats. We boarded the plane as is airline policy if you're disabled first. In case of the unlikely incident of an emergency, she will be helped off the plane last. She will be helped off the plane last, as if because I have a disability, I don't warrant acknowledgement by name, even though it's clearly printed on my ticket. But do you know who this is? My mum spoke up. She's the most important person on the plane. So much of the world is unhappy with me living a shiny, beautiful, happy life, because they believe that when you have a disability, it can't possibly be your truth to live a shiny, happy, beautiful life. But I'm here to tell you otherwise. After all the heartache, the 38 years of feeling beaten down by the system, I made a decision to set myself free, to live in the now, to control the controllables. So now when I sit behind the closed doors of the doctor's office, choreographing my next move, waiting for someone, an able-bodied person and someone else to make decisions for me, I internally smile to myself because, baby, the world has got it all wrong. I don't sit there silently because I think that able-bodied humans are better than me or know more than me. It's because once I have what I need in order to level out that playing field of life, I know that no one is as powerful as me. You don't live in a body like this without becoming superhuman. I might take over the world. And as some have always known it to be deeply true, the moment I lay in their arms, the two most loving humans in my life, my able-bodied parents, knew that my body was something to be celebrated. And I am so grateful that they led the way to show so many others this indisputable truth. Disability has given me great joy. It has helped me travel the world. I won a gold medal for my country. It has taught me about perspective and self-love. Above all the anger and frustration, I sit before you today a happy, joyful woman who just happens to get onto the dance floor in a wheelchair.